All right, guys, in today's video, one of my all-time favorites. This is really the thing that took my game to a whole nother level of consistency. I use this a bunch with recent students of mine. I want to share it here with you. It's a drill and a concept that was really the second breakthrough in my golf career. If you've watched some of our videos, the thing that really helped me get into the 80s, into the 70s, and around par was learning how to get my arms and club through impact. Right, some of the extension, the rotation pieces we've discussed in previous videos, but even then I would play some good rounds, some bad, some ups, some downs. It was relatively inconsistent, even though I was hitting it pretty good. But when I learned this, which is all about how to maintain my body's inclination to the ground, which I'm going to show you a real easy concept and an add-on drill on how to do that, my game went to a whole nother level. My consistency got much better. My scores got tighter. And I was able really to shoot around under par, maybe one or two over my worst rounds after I implemented this. And the simple concept here in the beginning, a lot of times I was spending time on, or golfers would come in thinking about their body motions in the swing and spending a lot of time thinking about the shoulders and the hips. And both of those are good to think about. But when I learned how to feel my rib cage or my core motion that I'm going to show you today, really, again, big breakthrough for me, something I wasn't able to feel when thinking hips and shoulders rather. So when you take your setup, your distance away from the ground, this inclination to the ground concept, the idea here is when I set up my core or my rib cage or stomach is a certain distance from the golf ball. Let's say it's 3.5 feet. Now the best ball strikers are able to keep their core, the center part of their body, 3.5 feet during the backswing, 3.5 feet during the downswing, 3.5 feet at impact, 3.5 feet through the golf ball. And really importantly, they're able to do it during the entire backswing and through the ball until about arms parallel. We'll put some people on the screen here. The simple version, we got Tiger in his prime. Think about this, if you drew the line up his body, you would see that his body stays on that angle on the way back and through. You can come out of it a little bit at the end, but in swing and for consistency's sake, we want to stay that same angle. Think about it this way. If I was hitting the golf ball, if my body stays the same distance away, and I'll show you how to do this via the rib cage, it would be much easier to learn how to manage the arms in the club to consistently hit the ball, solid in the middle, hit the ground in the right spot. Now imagine a different way to swing where your body was constantly getting farther from and closer to the ground and trying to manage how the arms and club moved to be able to have that same level of consistency. It'd be very chaotic. It's very difficult to do. For me, I've always been someone who my rib cage would get farther from the ground on the way back, a little bit closer in transition, and then farther too soon on the way through. And that's what I see with a lot of golfers. So today's video is designed for you to learn how to keep that inclination to the ground, how to feel it through your rib cages. So the simple concept and drill, before we get to the main drill, I like to think about the rib cage just for patriotic sense. Let's say we have the left side of my rib cage is like red, the middle part is white, and the right side is blue. Red, white, and blue. You'll see the images on the screen here. At setup position, I've got the white or the center at the golf ball. Now during the backswing, I want to take the left side of my rib cage or the red and replace where the white or middle part of my rib cage was at setup. So my setup position, I'm at the golf ball, arrow pointed down forward. During the backswing, I want to feel my left part of my rib cage, the red, replace the white. Now to replace the white, it's got to move back or rotate away from the target, and it's got to stay down. Now for me, because I lift too much, I had to feel like it went down. Now, does it actually go down? No, it just stays down where it was. Most of you will probably lift like me. It might need to feel like it goes down a little. So part one of this is learning to keep this inclination to the ground on the way back, get this red or front part of the rib cage to replace where that white was at setup. So this lead side of your rib cage, you're going to feel like it goes back and ever so slightly down away from the target. Let's hit with that first. And that should enable us to keep my body relatively constant in terms of distance from the ground, which would make it the easiest to be consistent and control the rest of the golf swing. But do I want to make a swing where, I keep my inclination on the way back and then start to stand up on the way down? Definitely not. I still want to maintain that distance on the way down. So the mantra here is I've got the white at setup. The red, or left side of the rib cage, replaces that white on the way back. Really in the downswing, the white gets back at the golf ball. But really from arms parallel to the ground through, now I want to feel the blue replacing that white at and through impact, okay, into arms parallel. So I'm feeling when I'm swinging, left side of my rib cage down and back, right side of my rib cage down and through. Left side of my rib cage down and back, right side of my rib cage down and through. And for me, feeling it through the rib cage and the core, and a lot of students I work with, they've tried tilting the shoulders, something like that. Some it hasn't worked for. They've tried doing things with the hips and the legs. Again, some that works for, some not. If you're someone who hasn't been able to feel it through the hips or the shoulders, this rib cage can be really good for you. So I want to feel that red, replace the white on the way back, and then feel that blue, replace it on the way through. So the feel is if we drew that line up my body, like the tiger example, I'm trying to maintain that inclination to the ground. Left rib cage back, right rib cage through. And all I'm really looking for is a sensation. If you're someone who videos your swing, I would be more analytical with it. Right? Send your swings into cogornogolf.com. We can work with you there and get very specific with it. But in general, if you're just looking for some solid contact, you can just use that simple feel. Left side of the rib cage down and back, right side of the rib cage down and through. I'm trying to replace where this is right now at setup with the right side of my rib cage. It'll replace it and be a little forward, you'll see. Replace that on the way down. Just like I'm trying to replace that on the way back. Left side of the rib cage down and back, right side down and through. And that helps keep my body that constant distance from the ground. Again, wherever you're coming from, I would say 80% of players I see go too far up and or not back enough with the left side. So you need to feel more back and down. On the way down, most players go up and not forward enough. So you need to feel more forward and down, okay? If you are on the side where you already go too far down, again, we're looking to replace it exactly where it is. So then if you go too far down, you'd feel a little bit of up on the way back. So it's really the simple version of this. Now, as I was doing this, I got introduced to a drill. I'm not even sure where I first saw this from. This is a long time ago. So I'm not sure where it was, but that same sort of concept then, I got introduced to this drill you may have seen where the club goes behind your back and through my elbows. So I got like T-Rex arms, right? Kind of through the middle part of my spine, right through my elbows. And this was something for me that really helped me feel the same thing where I feel my rib cage go back, rib cage go through. I'm feeling like my left rib cage replaces where this white, right? The red replaces the white on the way back, and then the blue replaces the white on the way through. Left rib cage down and back, right rib cage down and through. So when I'm on the course or I'm practicing, this is a drill you can easily use to try and replicate the same feels. So if I go play before I go play, I'll do that drill all the time, right? Just to get a sense and a feel. But this was the thing, once I learned how to get the club path from in to out, close the club face, right? Get that ball pattern going. This piece really, really, really changed everything for me. And if you can learn how to get this in your swing as well, it's going to change everything for you. Left side of the rib cage down and back, right side of the rib cage down and through. Yeah, very solid. Now, if you're someone who normally would raise up, just last little caveat, if you're someone who normally would raise up on the way back or through too much, that means very likely you had to lengthen and throw your trail arm and wrist too soon to make up that distance and get to the ball. So when you feel this rib cage down and back, rib cage down and through, you're gonna feel your torso staying closer to the ground. So in with this, just a little caveat, as your body's a little closer to the ground, you may just need to feel your trail arm and trail wrist a little bit more bent through the ball just to shorten that up to make up that extra distance. Because your body's closer to the ground, you got to shorten something else. So you may feel the right arm and right wrist a little shorter. Left rib cage down and back, right rib cage down and through. Maintain the inclination to the ground, hit the ball much more solid. So if you like simple general stuff like this, right, I think this is really good for you. If you want more specific stuff, cogornogolf.com. When I got coaching, my golf game completely changed. What coincided with me learning this and getting much more consistent was finding a great coach to work with. I cannot recommend it enough. Either find someone in person you love, go to cogornogolf.com, send in your swings. We're gonna give you a detailed breakdown of what's going on, a practice plan to fix it. The price point's unbelievably discounted. Get access to all of our videos, our member library, 24/7 access to coaches. Can't recommend it highly enough. cogornogolf.com, that'll be below. Any questions, leave a comment. Thank you guys for watching.